think that's kind of key. And some of you may have found this as well, that it takes some time. Not always. Sometimes you start to use some of these tools and it just changes overnight. But often it just takes the time for the mind to become recalibrated. At least this period of little by little sinking into it, because you can feel that it moves out of being a mechanical thing, like, oh, I should do a changing prayer, or, oh, I should, blah, blah. It moves out of a should, and it starts to become almost like a longing, like a spontaneous thing arises. It kind of reminds me of, like in the beginning, if you're trying to get in shape, you sort of force yourself to go to the gym, or you force yourself to go for a walk. And then after a while, your soul starts to crave it. It doesn't really take discipline. You just start to want it. It's very similar, I think, with this connection to the divine. You just do it at first. Like 12-step programs would say, you kind of act as if. You act as if the connection's there. You act as if you pretend as if there's a divine that's waiting to help you. And then as you continue to pretend, you soon start realizing you're not pretending, and the divine's been there all along. And I also think what she says is quite possible, that the antidepressants could have put a dampening effect sometimes. But again, the changing prayers are a very powerful piece of this. So I think, even a prayer that says something like, I'm offering my entire state of mind to you, divine. Shift me into someone who can feel your love or feel your joy. You can really make these up yourself, but any invitation to allow the divine to come in to the mindset, I think, is really helpful. And then, to tell you the truth, sometimes I think one of the most powerful change me prayers is simply to say, allow me to accept myself where I am. Just change me into someone who can accept myself where I am and let the process unfold. Because it's such a culture of get it, do it. You should be joyous every day, which of course absolutely nobody is. It's the big lie of the culture. And there's no should. So I think honestly one of the most powerful things is to pray, let me love myself this way. Just let me love myself this way. And help what wishes to be born to come. Help what wishes to be born to come. And then it's almost like there's a invitation to acceptance and to allowing, as opposed to pushing and all the shoulds. Also, I want to say one more thing on this, because it applies to a whole number of questions. Some of you may have been noticing how one of the things that happens when any topic, it's part of why I love offering so much, any topic that's offered to the divine, when you truly do it from the inside, God is so unique to each person. And I love this, because I spent 30 years doing 30,000 astrology readings, and that was the thing that I learned. One of the things I learned from charts is that this idea of one thing fits all, sort of fundamentalist, here's the answer and everybody must do this. Well, once you do 30,000 charts, you realize that's insane. Every person is different, and every person has this unique flow that comes from God if you open to it. And so, I'm always wary when anybody starts to talk in these black and white terms, like, let's just to use the topic of depression, not to say this person is, but, any topic, any healing topic, any spiritual topic, as soon as somebody's saying, and this is what you must do, this is the answer, never do this, always do this, this is terrible, this is good. It's like, you get to a topic like about healing. For one person, a raw diet is perfect. For another person, it will make them sick. And so this is, to me, what comes out of offering, is if you begin to say, dear Goddess, guide me to what's right for my body. Guide me to what's right for me from the inside. You start to get guided to the stuff that your body really needs to feel the way it needs to feel. And I just love how it takes it out of this doctrinaire approach that's so often, not only in our culture, but in the New Age world, for sure. I'll say one last thing on this, and I'll go to the next question, because it permeates so many of the kind of questions people are asking. If you don't go on my main Facebook page, you might want to, because, every few days I post there too. And I had written something the other day about being a yogi, practicing yoga. And somebody had made a comment like, well, if somebody's a true yogi, they hide in a cave. They don't go into the world and teach. And I thought, that is exactly the kind of comment that is coming out of that belief that every person's the same, when in fact, the beauty of this work, where everybody has a different dharma, everybody has a different karma. Somebody's role could be to hide in a cave and know God hiding in a cave. Somebody else's role, they could have tremendous public karma to have to, be very, very public, because God's saying, I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you like crazy because I need you. And so, to say one person being public is less good than somebody else hiding, it makes no sense. Everybody's karma is different. So I just want to say that for all topics. For one person, being alone is perfect. For somebody else, being in a couple is perfect. It just applies to everything. And I think you can feel, as soon as somebody's giving you a one-size-fits-all answer, be suspicious. That's all I have to say after 30,000 charts. Be suspicious. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. Your heart will show you. God will show you from the inside.